Yeah, what's going on? We are back. We're back in here Wednesday, 9-ish. You know, we on CP time.
9-ish.
We're back in here. All right, it's the experience. I got the big homie Black Pearl. What's
Yo.
And I got the doctor. I said the doctor's in the house. Dr. Roy Rain, what's up with you? She got it laid to the
Why
side.
you doing gang signs? Why you
got
doing
that hair laid to the side. You know it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem. All right. Oh, we got special guests in the building today. All right. We got Maya's here. And we got Damien. All right. Omen. I was watching Omen a couple of days ago. Is that who he's named after?
For the record, it's spelled the French way, and the Omen is the Spanish way.
Okay,
I've been saying that his whole life.
Heard that.
That little kid was a savage, boy. I was like, woo. All right. Well, I'm sure you are a good one. All right. So, Damien, tell us about yourself, brother. What should they know about you?
22. Obviously from the area. Black Pearl's my mother. If you can't tell by the face. I'm just here to support, share what I can share, and hopefully help whoever hears and whoever reaches.
Okay, and so he loved his mama. We got Maya. Tell us about yourself, Miss Maya.
Well, I am Damien's older sister.
Now we did a show about that.
No.
All right.
I'm Damien's older sister, and Black Pearl's daughter. Just here to share my experience as an older sibling and whatever can bring new light to what goes on when people don't know certain stories.
All right. Shout out to the Real Bravado Network. Oh man, we appreciate the super chat, man. Man, thanks for showing us love. Hey, if you guys, when you guys log off here later or tomorrow, man, check out the Real Bravado Network.
Absolutely.
He's out there. Hey, it's good stuff. I thoroughly enjoy it. All kind of great conversations. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. Okay. So Miss Maya. Oh yeah. And so if I'm gonna do this real quick. Hey, so if my nephew Mr. Wilson's out there, you know what I'm saying? Hey, Miss Maya's single out here, brother.
Man,
I'm just throwing it out there.
On the whole live, just putting that out there.
We need good people to meet good people. But I'll leave that there.
Hi, Mr. Wilson. All right, doctor, what we talking about today?
Okay, I'm back. What did you say?
I said, what are we talking about today?
Okay, see, I tell you, so my internet is tripping. It does this every week. So anyway, so tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about a very serious topic, actually, and it has to do with domestic violence. Oftentimes, when we think about domestic violence, we focus in on the impact that it has on the actual victim of domestic violence, and also focus in as well too on the aggressor or the individual that is instigating, if you will, or initiating the domestic violent situation in the relationship. But today we want to look a little bit more closely at this conversation piece from the individuals that are often in the background and for lack of a better way of putting it, the forgotten ones, but they're not forgotten, which are the children that are impacted by domestic violence. So, so today we're going to have our lovely guest share their experience and hear from them and what they have on us as far as like what they are dealing with, have dealt with, things of that sort. But to kick this conversation off, uh, the doc always got to bring statistics.
Always.
That's what I do. I do the research. So to kick this conversation off, first of all, I want to let everybody know that October, this is Domestic Violence, National Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so please be sure that you tap into your local community. Oftentimes, there are a lot of different events that are taking place, fundraising events, because there are organizations, nonprofit organizations out here that are doing great work supporting families and children alike. So please be sure to tap into those events and support our local agencies that are doing something awesome um, in regards to this cause. October is National Awareness, Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and it began in 1989. Thought that was interesting because domestic violence has been around for a long time.
It sure has.
And 1989 isn't that long ago, old and young people, because I know we got some younger viewers, you know. But 1989 is when this particular month was designated to recognize this serious issue. So with that being said, 10 million individuals are abused, and I say individuals respectfully to include male and female, okay, or non-binary. I think, did I say that correct, Maya? I need you to check me if I say anything incorrect. All right, boo. Thank you, baby. Thank you. So, so 10 million individuals are abused annually by the hand of their partner. So when we look closer at that, we have the statistic of 1 out of 4 men are abused by their partner in some form of, yeah, 1 out of,
yes, the men.
yes, the men, they are abused by their partner. And we won't dig into all of that tonight, but abuse comes in different forms. Okay, so if there's physical, mental, emotional, financial. It's a broad spectrum. So I'm just using this very generally. And then as far as women are concerned, 1 in 3 women are victims of domestic violence. Then when we look closer at the children, which is what we're going to be talking about today, 1 out of 15 children are exposed to domestic violence every year. 1 out of 15. And then 90% of them are actually eyewitness to these events that are taking place in the home. 90%.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And so these children who grow up to be adults are 6 times more likely to die by suicide. 6 times. Again, and I'm pausing because this is very serious. So and then 50% of these same children are also more likely to abuse drugs as well as alcohol. And then lastly, as a result of being eyewitness to these things that are taking place within their home, oftentimes the lasting impact on our beautiful babies is feelings of helplessness and hopelessness, misery. They have some concerns in regards to self-harm, as we've already denoted, as well as rage, anger, and also they tend to have a difficult time even with with their own relationships.
Yeah.
Whether it's a personal, intimate relationship, or even in friendships. All of these things have a major impact on our young people. So, so I want to open up the dialogue by sharing that information. And at this point in time, I would love to open it up to our lovely panelists, Damien or Maya, whoever would like to speak first.
The children.
The children.
To share with us your perspective, your experience, and we're just thankful that you all are open to sharing this with our audience as well. And we appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah. If you don't mind me starting, it's always been something. Your home is your safe space. You know, as a young child, you're already going through all these, trials and, everyday challenges. Going to school, you have to grow as a person on your own, away from your home life. So, going through those own challenges in school and, after school activities and coming home, and the one place you want to just take that deep breath, sigh of relief is not safe. It really does. It carved in your brain, like, is there any place for me to ever be safe? Is there any place to be free? Because you get put in such a box, it's like everywhere is a challenge. There's never time for me to take a break. So you get this overworking mentality to just keep going, because you don't know if you'll ever get a rest, because it's a war zone at home. It's a war zone in the real world. When am I going to get that break as a child, So it definitely does affect peace. And I do understand from that mental aspect, just seeing it definitely, makes you wonder, like, is there a time where I get to just stop and relax and feel like, okay, I'm in a good place? So it definitely is affecting the youth at the mass spread, I feel, because it's deeper than what you see. It's going to affect you in all your daily activities. So it definitely is a lot.
I have a question for you. For people who just joined, I've been very open about my experience with domestic violence. So Damien is my second oldest, and Maya is my oldest, and I have one more that's not here. But Damien, can you recall in your mind the first time that you saw what used to happen at home with us, like that stuck out in your mind?
Man,
or one that sticks out in your mind?
Just one situation that really, I always go back to it for like a sign of like just barbaric anger is I remember in New York when the house, had burned down, and this is our place of being, this is a time when he didn't even stay with us. And we're just watching this charred everything. And this man is angry down the street, punching a light pole because his shoes are burned. And I'm looking at my birth certificate, everything I've ever gotten for Christmas, burned. And he's crying about some, $120 J's. And I've always looked at that. Like, I never want to become like that attached to a material, that delusional, to be the main character in such a big world where you're like, I can go around abusing, tearing, burning any bridges that I feel are necessary to gain my stories and in plot, and not looking around how it's affecting everybody around you. I'm a young kid. We just came from a cookout. So you're eating, you're having a great time. You're like, okay, we're only a couple of blocks down the street. You're like, what's that smell? And he's mad about shoes where we have nowhere to stay now. And it's like, it really made me, that's the picture I look back at. That's the reel that rewinds in my head when I hear or see anger. That's like the epitome of ignorant anger and abuse, because you're that narcissistic and you're that self-centered. That's when I knew it wrapped in a ball. Like, okay, I know this person is not good for anyone.
Gotcha.
And that is honestly, it's crazy that that's your first like very vivid memory, because mine is earlier than that when we lived in North Carolina still, and I would come home from school and like the house is just destroyed. Like it's just destroyed. And then it calms down and then we're like, okay, it seems normal, but it's not because we're coming home and the house is literally in shambles. And then it gets later into the night and it's calm, and then randomly the yelling starts again. And we're trying to go to bed and we can't go to bed because there's banging outside of our door and just a bunch of yelling. So my first like very vivid memories are more so like earlier, I guess, sort of say because I'm older, like some of those memories start a little bit before than what my brothers have experienced. And just remembering like feeling like I've seen more things because I had to feel like I had to protect them. So most of the time, like when it comes to that, it's like we would go in our room, we would be playing. I'm like, no, you guys, let's just play. Like nothing's happening. And we put blankets under the door to make it kind of like soundproof so that we like it's still there. Like the noise is still there. I mean, it's a wood door. You're going to hear through it, but making it soundproof a little bit less so we can at least focus on something different, or having to be outside all day so that we don't have to deal with that. Like as soon as the yelling would start, we would go outside. We'd just be outside, roaming the neighborhood, and just be outside till the streetlights came on, and hopefully it was done. Or we would like be walking back up to the house and then see he was leaving and be like, okay, cool, we can finally go home and go to sleep. Like that's some of the stuff that we also experienced that may not be much of vivid memories for like my brothers, but for me it's like, okay, you guys, let's go. Like we're going outside. And they're like, okay, hold on. I'm like, no, you got to get your shoes on and we got to go like right now. That type of stuff.
So how old
And
were
then-
you, Maya? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, baby,
Um,
but how old
No,
were
you're
you
fine.
when you
When we
basically
lived,
first?
I think I was about 8 or 9. So it was like second grade age. I mean, when I moved, yeah, it was like second grade age technically. So 8 or 9, my brothers were they were little. They were pretty
Right.
little, like 2 and 5. So they were young.
Mhm.
I got a question. So Damien, so how does that affect your relationships with women? Do you find that that you like think about it in your dealings with young ladies? I assume you like young ladies. I know we.
Yeah, no. I've been in the same wagon for 3.5 years now. The same girl. I love her to death.
Not the same wagon.
But
You said the same wagon.
you're on this road, you know what I mean? But when I first started dating her, it was hard, because I really wasn't open to back at school, it was sports for me, sports at school. I'm going to sports school, hang with the guys. I wasn't really worried about any girls. Like I've had one other girlfriend, but going into it, I really was like, it was hard to not try to make the same mistakes. 'Cause I've learned in my past, just watching it, saying, I don't want to make this mistake. I don't want to make this mistake. I don't want to make this mistake. It's just going to lead you straight into that mistake. So it's just very hard to first, let that go and, realize I'm my own man. You have to make your own decisions. So just like, connecting with them, opening my emotions and really like putting that stone wall down. I mean, I had a great wall around my heart and my emotions, as most men do. And I really didn't see growing up an open outlet, a healthy outlet from a man figure,
Right.
how to release those emotions. So it was really hard, it was just, blurt it out when you finally get that, soda bottle filled up, shaken up to the top, and you're just like ready to burst. And I had to slowly realize, there's a way to talk about things, a way to communicate. So it was hard. I will say it was a challenge, but putting that challenge to the back of your mind and realizing that you will make mistakes, you just got to get up, is what really helped me get through the relationship status, and just getting there and realizing, this is not as hard as you think, you know what I mean? Happy wife, happy life. So
Yeah, and Maya, how did it affect you? Did you like something you looked real early at because you saw it growing up, or because it goes different ways. Some I see some women like accept it because they see it and they think it's normal, and some women like soon as you like slightly raise your voice, up red flag, you're done. So like where do you fall in?
Yeah.
In
So for me, I have to give a lot of kudos to my mom. She, even through all of that, she would still tell us like, this is not what love is. Like, this is not what you should be doing, what you should accept. But for me, I took a totally different route than my brother. I didn't intentionally do it, but for me, it was always, don't try to say, look at every man and be like, he's like your father, or he's gonna be like your father. So that's where I had to like really learn, like, not everyone's going to be like him. And life happens. And I still ended up having an ex who was just like my father, like just like it, down to like mentally, emotionally. And at one point it got physically. And it was only for 6 months, but it was still like, oh my God, like it was 6 months too long. Like, I can't believe this happened. It was like I knew I shouldn't have dealt with it, but it was still like it was a shocker for me that it happened, that I found someone that I thought was different and still ended up being like that. And then I had another situation where it wasn't it was like I guess technically it was a situationship. But it was for 10 years. And it was some of the emotional aspects that was still like my
10
father. And
years.
for so long, I was like,
Come back to
no,
it.
you're not like him. No, he was that, yeah. we're gonna to that one. But but it was like the emotional aspect was still the same, and some of like the mental aspect was still the same. So for me, it's a little bit harder because I'm still trying to look at people and like, okay, I don't want to walk in here with caution, but I got to walk in here with caution because I never know. Like, and I'm trying to build that trust with like men in general. Like I trust men, but it comes to a point where I'm like, I don't know. People show you one thing and then they can switch up, and that's really what I used to tell people, and I used to tell like say this to my mom and brothers. I'm like, my dad was my first heartbreak because even though I guess there's always a part of me who's like, he's not really it. But seeing like how that switch would happen, like he could be this fun, loving person sometimes, and then just turn into this complete stranger. It's taking me down the road where I'm meeting people where I feel myself tiptoeing, or I try to cling on to the first person that has shown me it's something good, which is still a learning process. That's life, that's growth. I've been working on it, still taking that time to be like, I'm going to be vulnerable and still be what a natural woman should be, like emotional, show their emotions and love. But it's still that caution that is in the back of my head. Like, I don't know. One day you could just switch it up on me, and I don't know how to.
Right. I mean, when you've seen it, it's something that it's a trauma. So it's definitely something that you got to work through. Okay.
So
okay.
how long did you guys witness this stuff going on between your mom and your dad?
Oh God.
So
I can answer. So even
I think my mom would be
kind of
that.
Yeah. The reason I'm like, oh goodness, is even after we separated, even after myself and my ex-husband separated, they still had to experience it because it like peaked at that time because it was like it turned very petty. Like, oh, so you want me to co-parent, but I can't be near you. So when I'm near you, I'm gonna start it all over again. So I'm gonna be super sweet, super nice. So I'm gonna say, even though Maya said she was like 7 or 8 when she remembered, it happened before that. I just was better at hiding it from them. So I'm gonna say it's probably about I would say almost 10 years.
Okay. And the reason why I was asking that question is because um I was listening and I heard Maya say, I remember a lot. Probably too much. Probably more than she want to remember, if I may be honest, on your behalf, Maya. Okay. And then
Some of it
what I
blocked.
I
Be
got you,
honest.
baby.
Some of it.
I got you. And that's where I was going, because what I heard from Damien is, I don't remember a whole lot of stuff. I remember some stuff, but I don't remember a whole lot of stuff. And one thing that I think is so amazing in its own right of how our body builds this defense mechanism mentally is if I'm gonna just say it this way. I feel like if God knows what you can handle, no, I'm gonna say it this way. God knows what you can handle, right? And so for you, Maya, and this gonna sound super crazy, but just go with me, okay, babe?
No, it's
For
okay.
you, no, seriously, because maybe for you, because you being the oldest and the only girl, I too am that. And I look younger than my brothers too. Thank you. So, but in all seriousness, like um it's like you were able to handle that. And I know that sounds real jacked up, but it was designed maybe for you to build up that muscle for something later. And I don't know
Yeah.
what later looks like. You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then maybe for your brothers, it's like, no, I don't need them to remember this, that, or the third, because it will cause a more negative impact on them. So I'm gonna just block this stuff. You're
Yeah.
not gonna remember any of this. You know what I'm saying? In order to help preserve who they are at their true core, their
Yeah.
essence. You know what I'm saying? But again, like I say, as you being the oldest, you probably like, well, oh, doggone it, Lord, why didn't you spare me? I don't remember this stuff either, right?
I mean, sometimes they say they get the toughest. God gave his toughest battles to the strongest
Yes,
warrior.
sir.
I'm like, okay, I think I need a little less battle.
Amen. I got you. But yeah, but that's why I was asking that question, because I could hear the difference between your recollection versus that of your brother.
Yeah. So, Maya, do you want to share some of the things that you deal with day to day because of like with sleeping and stuff?
Yeah. So, we would get woken up at night all the time when the arguing would happen, and it's not very fun. But I've noticed now that I am a very light sleeper. If I'm not like sick and I'm asleep, I can hear someone walk into my if I'm not like super tired or if I'm sick, then I'm a deep sleeper. On a regular, no, you can like knock on my door and I'll wake up. Or like someone could walk into my room and I'll wake up. So my sleep habits are so bad. And then I guess also I didn't really notice it until now. I think a lot of that past stuff is making it like building up. Like sometimes I'll wake up throughout the night and then I'll like just be up and then I'll fall back to sleep. But I wake up like 2 or 3 times in the night at night. No matter what time I go to bed, how tired I am, I'm waking up. Other stuff besides the sleep habits that are affecting me now are like I avoid arguments. No, if you're gonna yell, I don't want to do it.
And she shuts all the way down.
Down. Even if I have something I want to say, my chest is hurting, my body's on fire, but for some reason I cannot say it. And even now, like I have to tell I mean, I would say friends, I guess, guys that I have like dealt with and I've built that trust with, like even like guy friends I have now where I'm like, okay, I really got to tell you guys something. But I tell them like it's gonna take me a while. So just sit here because I need that time to build up that courage and tell myself like, don't think about the next thing that's gonna happen. Don't think about the worst that's gonna happen. Because automatically when it comes to saying how I feel, my brain, without me realizing it, goes to this is gonna end really badly. This is going to end in an argument. This is going to end in them yelling, screaming, and acting crazy. But I mean, it's not always that. And I've thankfully found people who are very attentive to that side of me where I'm like, they're like, I know you shut down when you have these emotions, so I'm going to give you the time to say it. And they understand. So I have that. And then I've noticed that like I have anxiety. I never really noticed, like now I guess a lot of stuff because I'm older, I'm realizing like, oh, this is part of that. But a lot of it is overthinking and like when I was when I was in therapy, my therapist told me like, why do you think of every single possible scenario that's gonna happen before you even say what you have to say? And then I was like, I really don't know. But it's because I saw every single possibility that could possibly happen when I was younger, when my mom would just say what she had to say. It wasn't in a crazy way. She would just say it. And like sometimes, like even when I was younger, I would sit there like, did this argument really have to happen? Like, did she really have to say that? Like, did she really have to do this? And I mean, I guess that is a question. Like, was everything you said, did it come out in a, I guess, I don't know how to put it, like a calm way, like a,
You're talking to me?
yeah, sorry. In a way that was like you didn't mean to cause any harm, if that makes any sense.
So obviously my memories are different than your memories.
Yeah.
I would say it didn't matter how I said it. I think the more I tried to say it in a nice way, the worse it would come across, because in those times, that person would feel like I was condescending to them. So, or I would hear, I don't need an M&F in life lesson when, like, hey, I don't think this is a good idea. I'm going to say maybe towards the end when I was like, I'm done. I'd be like, I'd about it. But in the beginning, what you and your brothers may not have realized is I was more worried about what you guys would hear than what I was saying to that other person, because I'm like, if the kids hear it, then I'm no better than what's about to happen. I think go ahead.
And I do like have some memories. Remember you saying like, the kids can hear you, like trying to say that, and it would just get louder and
yeah. And so the more I tried to tiptoe, it was like I realized after, I didn't realize in the moment, the more I tried to control the situation, the more out of control it got. So I wasn't walking in like, you ain't it. I wasn't like that. It could be something simple like, I'm so sorry. I was so tired. I fell asleep. I didn't make dinner yet. Or, wow, I wanted to spend some time with you. You're going out. Don't come back at 7:00 in the morning, and then it'd be like, boom, flame on. Or, I remember once, and it's going to sound crazy, but I'm being dead serious. I remember once I was like, you're just so much better than this. You don't have to do that. And that person was like, you need to call me a no good MF, but that's what you want to call. Just say it. And in that moment, I was like, why would I say that? Oh my God. And I remember saying that, like a whole Becky moment, like, what? No, I don't think that. And it just made it worse because again, he thought I was being
Yeah.
condescending. And I think the reason why I remember that, because in that moment I was like, this ain't got nothing to do with me. This is all you inside your head.
Hey, was there ever any like legal ramifications from
You mean like,
her?
did I call the cops?
Like, did anybody go to jail?
No.
My mom is not that type of person.
Again, exactly. I'm not that type of person. But I think for me, it goes back to always thinking about the kids. I'm like, oh my God, the cops are gonna come in here. They're gonna have the sirens going, woo, you know, all of that. I was like, another Black man in jail. Yes, all overthinking, but all actually contributing to the abuse. I think when it got to that point, I just kept thinking about the fact that when we argued, which is what Maya was referring to, that person would go through every room, turn on the light. It didn't matter if it was 3 PM or 3 AM. Go open and be like, wake up. Your mama think I'm a no good, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, the kids are just like, huh? Waking up. And so when I thought about, okay, calling the police, I just thought I'm just going to contribute to what's already happening. So maybe sacrificing myself, thinking I was protecting the kids type of thing.
So, and I hate Damien isn't up here right now because I still have a question. I know he was trying to figure out something with his phone, I think.
Yeah, it just went to the left. Okay.
Because I wanted to ask him if he had any challenges. I use that word. I like that word better.
Meaning
with just functioning, like pause. So like Maya expressed, you know, she has a challenge with her sleep habits and putting up that wall sort of kind of, but she's trying to work through that. I was just wondering if Damien had, you know, any type of side effect.
We can answer that. We can answer that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
go ahead. Go ahead, honey.
Not speaking for him, but what I've noticed, which I always have to tell him, like, you don't have to fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
He is the type of person that will try to fix everything. When you say he loves his mom, he loves his mom. He will do anything, but sometimes it gets to the point where it's like, okay, you need to, those emotions you are feeling, you have to release them somehow, because he goes into straight fixing mode. Like, it has to happen. It has to be okay. It has to be like, and he's, I guess, me, when I was younger, trying to protect him with that, he was also doing that, protecting in a way also. So he does that now. And like, or he does now, like, no, I'm not going to say how I feel because I don't want to cause anything, or I don't want anything to happen. So he does that now too.
I think he also has a challenge with emotions. And what I mean by that is sometimes his emotions make him uncomfortable. So he tries to push them down because he's afraid of the explosiveness. Like, he just assumes that it's not okay to feel like this. And so he gets like that. He always has been a very loving child, but I think the part that we don't hear about is, so it's like, okay, well, you know, if a boy, a male, whatever, is in a situation where he sees his father's abusive, he too will be abusive, right? Well, I think, or he'll be angry. I think he's the complete opposite. So instead of him always being angry, he's always very passive, overthinking, coming across too angry, overthinking, expressing. So he doesn't express at all. And so, as you guys know, I'm a very open person. So to see that, even like with Maya's the opposite. Maya has no emotions. Maya's like, right? And then Damien's the opposite. So I think for Damien, it's just understanding that, okay, yes, you're not going to walk around crying about everything, but you do have to acknowledge those emotions. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So, Maya, did you have, because I know you said you want to ask me some questions. So, go ahead.
Let's see. Oh, going back to where you said it was happening for, you said 10 years.
Almost.
Like, why not leave earlier? Like, what was stopping you from leaving earlier?
Me. Me. So I think, okay, first there was a sort of like an ego to it. And what I mean by that is, so I had you at, well, like I was almost 20. So of course everyone's like, it's not gonna work, blah, 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 da, da, da. Then no family, no nothing. So I was just like, I don't have anyone. So let me lean on this person. I think the bigger thing was I grew up with a mom and dad, and I felt like I will be damned if my children do not grow up without a mom and dad. Like which I'm doing now anyway. I just don't want to have to explain. I don't want to be a statistic. That was huge, man. I don't want to be a statistic. I don't want to be a single mom. I don't want to have to keep explaining to my kids that your dad, you weren't a mistake. Your dad wanted you, blah, blah, blah. And then I also thought I can handle it. I got this. It's just a little challenge. I got it. And I don't think I realized how much it was affecting you guys. I just thought once it was okay with me, it was okay with everyone else in the household.
Yeah.
And I think I made my mind made it bigger than what it was. That's what it was. My mind definitely made it bigger because at the end I realized I was doing it by myself anyway. So why was I scared to do it by myself? So that's the answer to that. So yeah. What else you got for me, babe?
I literally just lost my train of thought, but guess I'm gonna go on something else.
So
I'm really just
wait, here's another thing. So I've said to you guys, I have 3 kids. So Maya remembers a bunch. Damien remembers some. My youngest, Quentin, who's also been here, remembers nothing. Like he has blocked every single thing. And I mean every single thing. But he does have attributes of a child that has been in an abuse. Like he avoids confrontation. He breaks down in tears if he can't digest his emotions.
He's not sure. He doesn't really show we know he knows, and we know that the love is reciprocated in our family, but it's taken him until I guess now to he used to be super, super affectionate as a baby. I don't remember the switch because I'm not his mother, but at one point just switched where he just was not showing us affection, or we go to hug him and he'll back up a little bit, or he'll just stand there.
And I know he
I was
wanted me to say this too, but he also encountered times where he was like, I just want to kill myself, right? So he did encounter that also. And we had a horrible situation where I was here at work here, and the police came to tell me that, hey, someone called and said he was about to kill himself, and he was right upstairs. And in that moment, I'm talking to him and trying to figure out, because my children are also trying to protect me. We don't want to tell her that we feel like this and blah, blah, blah. And I think that's when the switch happened. Since you're talking about switch, I had that conversation. Like, I don't care what the hell is going on. If I lost you, no, it's not worth it. So yeah.
I remember what I was going to say now.
Sorry, baby. Go ahead, Maya.
There were times it got to a point where all 3 of us would get together. Quentin was still really young, but he was in the conversation. It got to a point where we would tell her we don't need him. You can leave. We do not need 2 parents. We are fine.
Mm-hmm.
And it took. I'm pretty sure it took us more than one conversation and more than one time telling our mom this. You really don't have to stay with him. We're okay. We're good with just you, because at the end of the day, it was still only her, even if he was there. So we also had to tell her, it's okay. It's really okay. We don't need 2 parents. We understand that you want us to grow up with 2 parents, but we don't need it. We will be okay. And eventually you'll find someone, and then God willing, he'll be that person to fill in, even though it may take us some time because trauma and past experiences to fully accept that or to be fully comfortable with it. But we told her, eventually you will find that person, and he will fill in that space for both the love that you were supposed to have with somebody and that safety, and also the love and safety that we were supposed to have.
Mm.
So we also had to tell her that too. Like we really don't need him in our life right now. Like
She's being very serious. Like they literally pulled me aside and was like, "We good. You ain't got to. We good." So yeah. But go ahead, Tamara. You had Royal. You had a question.
Okay, you fine. You call me what you want to call me. You call me boo thing, whatever you want to call me. But
Not boo thing.
That's my boo thing. Go ahead.
Hey.
But he's so stupid. But anyway, no, but I was gonna ask you guys. Oh, I hate Damien's not up here. Anyway, and not that I don't value your opinion. I just like to hear. Like,
yeah, we get it.
But do you? This is gonna be strong, and I don't mean it in a disrespect, Maya. But do you guys feel like you hate your dad? And let me take it a step further.
Wow,
so to take it a step further from the standpoint of because I'm listening to you, sweetie, and y'all are triggering me. So anyway, and it's not a bad thing. I'm good. I know how to decompress. But my son, he cannot stand his father to this day because and kind of like how Damien is with your mom, my son is like that with me.
Yeah.
And it's like I got my mama, even if I'm effing up, I still got my mama and she got me kind of thing. And his thing is that his father was never there ever. And when he had the opportunity to be there, he did pull some narcissistic mess, and then it was anyway. And so I know how my son feels. And then to take it a step further, his grandparents won't even grandparent. Let me say it correctly. His grandparent, his grandmother, will not even accept him because when she looks at him. Because when she looks at him, she sees her son. So I was wondering, sweetheart, do y'all have those similar emotions, feelings? I mean, if you feel comfortable sharing, baby. If you don't, that's cool. You can say, but I got you.
The reason I laughed is because every time I bring up my father, someone's like, my friend will say, "That's your arch nemesis," and that's why I laugh because. It does sound like I hate him, but I don't. It's a weird feeling. I don't hate him because he is also a product of domestic violence.
Yes, ma'am.
So I don't hate him because even though he should have known better, he never got the help to know better. I don't hate him. I hate how he made me feel, and I hate how he continues to make me feel now. And it makes me upset every time I think about it. When I finished dealing with my ex, two things. One, he's a liar, and he told me he was going to be there. He was going to be there. It was literally the day after my mom had to come get me from that situation. He told me he was going to be there and did not show up. A couple months later, I graduated from college.
And when you say he, you mean your father, right?
Right. I knew where she was going. I got it.
A couple days later, when I graduated from college, my father called me, and I was like, I guess I'll answer it. And every time I get a call or a text, I'm like, no, I don't want to answer it. I don't want to do anything with it. But when I graduated from college, he called me, and this was a couple months after the situation I had with my ex. And he said to me, if I was a better father, you wouldn't have gone through this situation. And I get where he was coming from, but it made me so upset. And it still makes me upset now because he's had plenty of chances to be a better father and he doesn't take it. We also do have a similar situation where my grandparent, my grandmother, my father's mother, and that's what I call him. That's who he is. That's who she is whenever I talk about her. And people are like, your father's mother, you mean your grandmother? No, that is my father's mother because she treats us like we are not her grandchildren. Because the picture he would paint for her during all of that situation with my mom. I also do have a similar situation. So I don't hate him. I hate how he makes me feel.
Okay.
I want to add to that. So the boys don't hate him either. I think a lot of times they're just like, I feel sorry for him because he lacks that self-awareness. You know, he's saying things like how she said, if it wasn't for me, but he does not. There's like a place where he's just not grabbing onto it to be accountable. That's probably the word for it. I do know that Maya and Damien, or all of them actually, often ask me why I don't talk bad about him. Or because they're like, we wish you were in here, like F him. And I don't. I remind them that in their creation, that he was 100%
right
in love with me, creating them out of love. And though his love is not the right love for them, that he loves them. I also say, because Damien struggles with this. So I know everyone always says, oh, your kids look just like you. But Damien's the one that really, he looks just like me. Yes. And for years, and probably once in a while he still says it, he says, my dad hates me because he wants to do to me what he does to you. He wants to beat on me. He wants to whatever because I remind him of you. You know, and so we went through the stage where I had to say that's not true, you know, go over those accounts. But then that made me feel bad because that meant to me, my child was sitting there watching physical things happen to me saying I could be next. And for the record, besides like disciplining and stuff, he didn't do those things to them. Now, I'm going to be honest, he'd get upset with them and try to bring it over this way. But it didn't matter.
So if you don't mind, so like what, like how bad, like what was it like? What was it like? Punches, kicks?
No, he did a lot of choking, shitload of verbal, like, and a lot of mental. It was a lot of choking, throwing things. Nothing where it could leave enough scars that someone would see, because we still had to, you know, part of the narcissist thing is to also put on this facade. Right. And now I think about it. So one time the police were called, but the irony was he finished roughing me up and then he called the cops on himself and kind of cut himself up. And then when the cops came, they're like, ma'am, can you step outside? I was like, hell no, I'm not going to mother. You know, like, are you crazy? You know, but even though I didn't have scars, I had, like, I can remember lots of soreness. I know that sounds crazy to say it like that, but a lot of, like, I'd wake up and my body was aching from like the shaking or maybe getting thrown on the floor. A lot of, like, I have this horrible habit of saying sorry I'm saying sorry about saying sorry about saying sorry about saying, I'm like, sorry, my bad. And I feel like that was far worse than any black eye could ever do. Like, I literally am split in two where I have to tell myself, it's okay to say this. You don't have to wait for the other shoe to drop. You're not fumbling the bag for your children, because that's another thing. Like when Maya says, well, why didn't you leave earlier? There's a part of me that feels like I dropped the ball in being a parent because I introduced this to them. They didn't have a choice in the matter. So I say that to say the physical would be easy. Put some ice on it, move on. Right? But the mental.
Yeah,
that mental is, you know how people go, I'm healed. I don't see how anyone's ever just healed.
It lingers a little bit longer.
It is. My healing is daily. My healing is maybe I'll meet somebody or a friend or dating, whatever, and then it introduced me to a layer I didn't know existed, right? And it's not something like, oh, I met someone and that's like, wait, this person didn't do anything. Why is your wall so high? Or why, and I saw a comment that said this, like, why are you like, I'm gonna get them before they get me, or I'm gonna leave them before they, like, that is a daily process. Or survival mode stuff, realizing I don't need to be in survival mode anymore. That is huge, because those are like defense mechanisms.
Right.
So I feel like I would be okay if I had the physical. Put some ice on it.
Well, I had another question about that, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
And so did you ever have a Tina in the limousine moment where you where you got some lick back and put some hands on him? Like,
yeah. So the last time, with Maya smiling like, yeah. We wasn't in no limousine, but I did have and I was trying not to curse this whole time, but I did have you got to be fucking kidding me. I am not dealing with this shit no more. Right? And it was a choking situation, and I got my back slammed on the walls, like, stop, stop. My chest is hurting, stop, right? And I was having some health issues, stop. And for me, this was the trigger. He was like, where's your God now? Where God now? You was in church praying, where God now? And I was like, okay, well, the devil came out. I'm just being real.
Hey, that's what I'm trying to hear about. Come on,
and he had recently, it was like maybe 6 weeks since he had, maybe 5, since he had a vasectomy. I knew they put that little clip in there.
Okay.
And I really, that's what you mean about the violence? You're ridiculous. I grabbed his balls and I was like swinging him left and right and it was just all the anger, all the upsetness. I was just talking. I was like, you in here and I'm busting my ass for everything. And the reason why Maya's laughing is because I remember they came out, they kind of peeked out and was like, Maya's like pushing her brothers back in the room, like, let's go back in the room. And
so he had just got the vasectomy?
It was like 5 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Maybe 5 weeks. Because I remember he was like screaming in pain.
Should have got him like fresh out that thing.
Yeah, fresh out. Hit him on the bookshelf. We had a little cheap old Walmart bookshelf. Bookshelf went falling. He went falling. I was still like, I've had enough. I just remember keep saying, I was like, I had enough. So yeah, after that crazy woman episode, he never put hands on me again.
See, that's what I'm saying. Look, I don't condone violence.
Okay, thank you. Violence.
I want people getting the wrong idea, like, oh, what's wrong with them?
Yeah.
But I do believe that sometimes a little violence lick back helps some people. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta get your balls grabbed and stand around a little bit, and then you're like, oh my gosh, this is a horrible situation. And next time you go to choke somebody,
I think in that moment,
I don't know, I might get my balls grabbed. I might not do the choke.
I think in that moment, I felt like, this is what you're doing to me, dude. You're grabbing me by my metaphoric balls and trying to destroy me when I'm over here trying to hold it down. You know what I mean? Like, that's just really how I felt. And I think that was the first time I ever didn't care that the kids were going to come out to see it. I didn't say, shh, you're too loud, the kids can hear you. I was like, it's going down and it's going to go down. We either both going to be on the floor like, I forgot was it Water Roses type thing, or you're going to stop touching me. That's just how I felt.
Hey, they didn't see the rest of it. They might as well see the lick back.
Yeah. I do have one more comment to add, because how my mom said that, like, Quentin doesn't remember any of it. Like, it goes down, like, who remembers how much. So I also do have 2 other siblings that I actually do talk to that are my father's kids. And like, we grew up together, like birth till now. So I have a brother that's
like violence.
So my brother's 5 months older than me. And then I have a sister who's like 9 months older than Damien. So our analogy that we would always say is it's like what we experienced was like a water hose spraying on. If we were in a line, it's a water hose spraying on us. So each of us got something, and like Quentin was in the back, and he might get the sprinkles, but he still has something. So that's always whenever we would talk about this, because even now, because we're getting older, because we're experiencing new things, like we talk about it with my mom and even like my other two siblings when we visit, like we sometimes bring it up. And now it may be we might be laughing about it, like just to like because we're like we've been through it, we've dealt with it, we might laugh about it, but it's still like we talk about it. So we always bring up that analogy, and that's even when just me, Damien, and Quinto would be talking. That's the analogy we would use because it's like I just don't get why I don't remember or why I don't feel anything. Or like you may not have got the main impact, but you still did get some of it. So it's not like
Right.
it's not that you don't remember and you should want to remember. It's just that you're just not going to remember as much as everyone else, and that's okay. Like that's your body's way of protecting you, and it's okay.
Absolutely.
Because he used to like Quentin used to be mad that he didn't remember, and we're like, why do you want to remember
He
this?
felt guilty. He felt guilty.
And he was like, I just feel like I should remember because you had to deal with all this stuff. And we're like, no, it's okay. Like that's just how life is. Like
Yeah.
as your older siblings, we're there to protect you, and as Damien's older sibling, I'm there to protect him. It's just that's just how life is. And like our mom was protecting us a lot, like even sick in the hospital protecting us because he would still be going. My father would still be doing his crazy stuff, doing his yelling. And my mother's in the hospital.
Mhm.
And we're sitting there like, what's wrong with you?
Mhm.
But he doesn't have that self-awareness that she's sick. And I think when my mom had that last moment where she was like, I'm gonna grab you by your real balls because you grabbed me by my metaphorical ones, she would be in the hospital like, no, I have to live because I'm not leaving them with
Yeah.
that man. And that type of strength is also what helps us now to heal from that trauma and to not experience those things or the after effects of experiencing domestic violence, to bring those emotions up, to actually acknowledge them and say, hey, you have to look at it, you have to take that, scoop it up, bring it to the surface, and deal with it and learn from it. Because even now, like I may only be turning 25 in December. There are still
almost
things I'm
30.
learning about myself. Like it hurts less to talk about my emotions, but it's still scary.
Wow.
And like there's just new stuff I'm learning. Like I can't even think of something new that I learned about myself. I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even. That's what it was. On top of already having probably having like an underlying health issue with my joints and stuff, I hold my trauma in my body, and I am learning that when I am overthinking or like when I get really sad, I get sick, and I never realized that until now. That a lot of that stuff, like my past trauma, could be being held in my body, and my mom tells me every day, she's like, you have to face it, you have to do something to figure out how to heal from that. Because I tried. I don't know why I became the spokesperson for my siblings, but I tried talking to my father about for all of them, even the one that's 5 months older than me. I'm like, why do I have to do it? But he's like, no, you got to do it. I tried being that spokesperson for my siblings, and he didn't do it the same. My father didn't do it the same way he did to my mother, but he still did it. He's still like, that's not really, I guess it's not that major abuse, but it's still a form of abuse. When I would say how I feel, he would still do it to me. And I was like, ooh, that's like, I thought I was supposed to be your child, your first daughter. But
Yeah, I can't relate to that. That's crazy.
So, yeah.
I got you.
Well, we made it to the hour, guys.
We always do.
We
Well,
always do.
yeah.
Well, before we get off of this call, I am compelled to say that Maya, I thank you and Damien for coming on the show today
Absolutely.
and sharing with us your experience and being open and candid with us all, because that takes strength And I just want to acknowledge that because I know
Yes.
this was not easy for you.
Yeah. Being vulnerable in general is hard. So
I understand completely. So, so I want to give props where props is due, but as a word of encouragement to you and your brothers, um, two things. Number one, have grace on yourself. Be graceful. You ain't gonna get it right all the time, baby. Even when you get my age and older, you ain't gonna get it right. And what I tell people, and your mom has heard me say this on more than one occasion. You may have to on the show, which is me and my crazy is cool. I'm good with me. Now it's up to you if you good with me, but that's not my problem,
Yeah.
right? So I yes. So I just say that to encourage you to just give yourself grace, sweetheart, as you go through this journey of being restored for yourself and whatever that looks
Yes.
like and however that looks like for you. And then the last thing I want to say is simply, and this is probably more so for your brothers, but you are you. And you cannot be and will never be anybody other than you. Even if you look like your mom or your dad, even if you act like your mom and may have some parts of your dad, you are you.
Yeah.
And who you are is how you use your energy
Yes.
to transform. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's just my closing note, Black Pearl and Mr. Chocolate, to just encourage people to not be so concerned with the reflection of maybe seeing that person that caused the trauma in your life, but to begin to
Yes.
see to begin to see truly you and in your beautiful essence. So that's all I got for tonight, y'all. I'm sorry.
Man, that was a word. That was a
Yeah,
That
word.
was a word indeed.
That was
And I,
good.
and I say I'm sorry a lot too. This is part
Yeah,
of the
I
trauma,
can't.
baby. I
Yeah.
don't even know why I'm saying I'm sorry because I ain't even done nothing wrong. But
I guess my final word is this. A lot of us go through what I went through, and we're so worried about what someone else is going to say. People are going to think that we are weak. I think my lesson there was I believe in God. Everyone doesn't have to, but I do believe everyone has a purpose. And I had to wake up and go, this is not my purpose in life. You know,
Yeah.
I was not created to be someone's punching bag, and it doesn't have to be physical, it could be emotional. And that's not the legacy I wanted to leave behind, a legacy of brokenness and trauma and even though honestly I deal with it on a regular, that you know, some of the things my kids experience is because I actually was in that. I do not hate their dad. I mean, he got to live with himself. That's worse than me. You know, he got to live with himself. But I think more importantly, I didn't realize how strong I was until I was in that part. And I don't mean strength like Popeye strength. I meant like mental, spiritual endurance to love past that situation. I think if I am giving anyone a word who is going through this, it would be when you learn to love yourself differently, you'll draw different things to you. And when I learned to love myself differently, I drew different things towards me. I did not waste my energy in the hate that was my marriage. I drew my energy in trying to build the love, the new purpose that I believed in. And, you know, someone put a comment here, like, we always think we're doing the best for our kids, and half the time our kids are saving us. You know what I mean? Like, I was over there thinking I'm saving them. They were saving me because I was like, I'm going to do it for them. They were saving me. I didn't do nothing. I just showed up, you know? So it's not as bad on the other side. That's that. That was my final word. Sorry. Sorry again.
Wow. Well, I ain't got a lot of final words, but you know, main thing, man, just hey, if you think you're gonna stay in that situation for the kids, trust me, they at school telling all your business. They're telling everybody. I'm just telling because that's where I be at. They be at
Yes.
school telling everybody how you're getting, slapped and hit. I hear all kind of stories, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, please stop telling me this." Now I gotta go and do some paperwork. So I'm just letting you guys know that you're not keeping it no secret from your kids because they know.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So if somebody's at home going upside your head and you think you're in the room keeping it a secret, your kids know. And
Absolutely.
they telling their teacher, which is me. And I don't want them to tell me because that's y'all's business. But if I gotta tell somebody else, I will. All right. But just for real though, keep your hands to yourself. Try to love each other, man, the right way. All right, because man, your kids, you ruin your kids, nothing else you do matters. Okay. Nothing else really matters. So, make sure we taking care of our kids, man, because they know when things aren't going right. And they
Absolutely.
telling me
Yeah.
first thing in the morning, they telling me. And I know your business.
Yeah.
Tyrone, tell your spiel. Stop it. Do the rest of your spiel.
It's true. I'm just telling. Cause I had a situation. It reminded me of a situation I had like a couple weeks ago where a little girl was telling me about what's going on at home, and it was crazy. And she was like, she's like, "Hey, coach," and because kids be talking to me. I don't know. I guess they feel like they can. And she was telling me about what's going on at home, and the parents didn't think she knew, and she knew everything. She knew it all. Like she told me all the details. So that's what triggered me. I thought about that young lady and others in the past who come tell me all their parents' business. So so you might as well handle the situation, get out of there, get help, okay? Because the kids know anyway. All right, so we're about to get out of here. All right, now make sure you guys, if you listen, okay, because people always tell me, "Oh, the show was so good, I listen." And I'm like, "You subscribe?" No, and I'll be wanting to bop them on the head because you need to subscribe to the YouTube. If you're enjoying,
that's different. That's a different form of abuse, right?
It's a virtual abuse. I'm not really gonna bop nobody. I'm not trying to catch a charge. Okay,
A little love tap.
little love tap. This is just to get you in the right direction. All right, so subscribe to the YouTube The Experience. Okay, join the Facebook group and feel free to participate. Okay, hey, go ahead and if you want to post something, you got some ideas, some thoughts, go ahead and drop them. We are open to that. We love that. Okay, we encourage that. All right. So you've been part of the experience. With experience is always good. And we will see you guys next time for a wonderful conversation again. Peace.